I used to work with a guy for about 10 years. We worked at the same location, and this guy absolutely loved fast food. And every day it was McDonald's. He absolutely adored McDonald's. But one day he had told me about a story of visiting some distant relatives. In Kentucky, they owned a large farm, and when he visited, they prepared a meal that was essentially comprised of about 85–90% of ingredients from the farm. And he said that it was the absolute best meal that he had ever had in his life. Now, what is the difference between McDonald's or any fast food place or even restaurant chain and a meal that you're going to get that's comprised mostly of farm, fresh, organic, clean ingredients raised from healthy soil? Well, the difference is quality. And I don't even necessarily consider the fast food to be real food. It's more like a food-like substance. And so one of the biggest things that I think a lot of people struggle with, at least in my experience in working with clients and students and doing mixes for others, is that they don't pay enough attention to the quality of their recordings. They never made it a study of recording techniques and spent the time to sit in front of a microphone or microphones and change their position while monitoring with headphones to find what is the best position and mic placement for their recordings. You may even need to change some things about the environment that you're recording in, the space that you're recording in. If you're in a room with hardwood floors and not many furnishings in the room, then you could end up capturing a lot of reflections into your recording of the particular instrument that you're trying to capture. And so what happens is they end up fighting in the mix to try to get the sound that they want to hear, and they end up applying a whole bunch of processing, and they get this plugin and that plugin that they've seen other people use, thinking that's going to transform their mix to make it sound like what they've heard other people doing. Well, the problem lies in with the initial crappy recordings. That needs to be resolved, that needs to be fixed if you want to take your mixes to the next level and have it sound really professional. So here I've got 3 different tracks, several different examples. Unfortunately, I can't use the same performance or instrument for these. I'm just not in a situation where I can do that because I move around a lot. But these top 2 I consider to be poor recordings, bad 1 and bad 2. I've labeled them, and then the third one I think is a good recording. These are all guitar. One of them is electric. The other 2 are acoustic. And so I want to play these back really quickly and just imagine how much work you're going to have to do to try to fix and make these bad recordings sound good in your mix compared to the bottom one. So let's give a really quick listen to these. We'll start with bad 1, that's in soloed. I also have gain stage these to 0 dB, just so that they're going to be pretty much the same level. So let's go ahead and give a listen to bad 1. Did you hear that clipping at the end? So to me, this just sounds kind of flat and a distance from the mic. There's no life, there's no detail. And listen to again to this clipping. Okay, now let's move on to the second bad. So this again sounds flat, lacking detail. I can hear the room, especially when the hand starts tapping the guitar, you can hear the room. Okay, now let's move to the good one. So this has a full, detailed sound. I feel like all of the frequencies are represented. There's just a clarity and richness and fullness to this final recording. Now, if you notice, those with a good eye, these top ones are mono. And this bottom one is stereo because this guitar was recorded with 2 small diaphragm condenser microphones in an XY position. Now, I'm not saying that you have to record with 2 mics in a particular position to get a good sound, but I hope that you are clearly hearing the difference between these 3 and which one would you rather try to work with in a mix. For me, certainly the good one at the bottom. To me, there's not even that much that I feel like I would need to do to this in a mix. It also depends on how many other instruments are going to be in the mix, the arrangement, what other instruments are going to be playing at the same time as this particular good guitar. But you can see over in the inspector, I've got a Pro EQ on here. So let's again listen to the good one. Open up our EQ. Power it on. It's not doing anything, but you can see there's some low end down here. So I would probably put a low cut, take that up to 24, take it up to where it starts to sound thin, and then back it down. Okay, and again, what I might do in the mid or upper frequencies is going to depend on other instruments in the song, what's happening in the arrangement, if this is playing along with another guitar, for instance. But there's not too much that you need to do to this, in my opinion. And there's also no clipping in this recording. You have probably heard in this top one here, at this section. I have worked with so many people who they've recorded performances that they're happy with, but they end up with this clipping in their recordings, and it just kind of ruins it. So mic placement, where you're sitting in your room, gain staging your audio interface so that you're not going into the red and clipping during your performance. These are going to be the most important things for your final mix. If you're going to work with crappy ingredients, you're going to end up with a subpar or mediocre mix. And again, I just can't stress that it's important to really understand recording techniques, because I've seen so many people get frustrated and struggle with plugins, and they think that if they buy a $200 plugin, then it's going to fix their recordings and make it sound like what they hear in the advertisements for these plugins. So for this quick tip tutorial, I just really want to stress the fact that it's important that you take the time to really understand recording techniques and these sorts of things if you want to improve the quality of your mixes. This is going to be more important than any plugins that you use or what DAW that you use. Okay, so we'll wrap up here. I hope this has been useful to someone out there. And also, if you'd like to speed up your learning curve with Studio Pro 8 or earlier versions of Studio One, check out the pinned comment below or the description area of this video for more information. And otherwise, I hope to see you in tomorrow's quick tip tutorial. Thanks for watching.